Yo, what the hell is your problem?
Dude, it's like this pandemic, man. It's taking away school, it's taking away football, it's taking away all my friends. I'm done, man.
Yeah, I don't have much to say to that. Except for the fact that you actually can learn a lot from the pandemic. Well, take it away, other me. Hey, thanks, other me. Who's wearing my merch? Wow! But, he is right. You can learn a lot from the pandemic. Not everything is doom and gloom. But in no way, shape, or form am I saying to take the pandemic lightly, because in no way should you. Actually, instead, what I'm saying is to find that silver lining in the big dark cloud that we find ourselves in that we call this pandemic. And I'm here to help spread a little bit of joy over that dark, cloudy day that you may be having. Oh, like the little sun dude from the Teletubbies. Dude, that guy was cool. Haha, yes he was, my serotonin depraved friend. Back to you, my other me. Right. Anyways, let's talk about some of the things that hopefully you guys realized, and if not, I will be able to bring to light about this whole pandemic situation and what you guys can actually get out of it. And starting with number one, I think having a hobby is one of the most important things that you can develop during the pandemic if you don't already have one. Having something that you can do outside of your normal job, outside of football, that you can come to in a time where you just need to relax or you find satisfying in the least can be the make or break difference between seeing a situation like this as a positive situation or a completely negative situation. I think a lot of people kind of experienced something like this at the beginning of the pandemic, where a lot of us were stuck inside, didn't have anything to do, so it was either learn a new skill, learn a new hobby, or just sit in front of Netflix. And I think a majority of people really did just sit in front of Netflix. So in spite of the long terms of how quarantine and how this pandemic has affected everybody, I think the best bet is to probably, maybe if you haven't already, try and learn a new skill, try and learn something. I learned how to video, I learned how to edit video as well, and I started my YouTube channel during the pandemic. Although I was already planning on doing it, the pandemic really accelerated those plans along much faster than I probably had intended. Maybe there's something that you always wanted to try out, or something that you aren't sure about, but now that you have all this time, or you've had all this time, maybe you've tried out, or you're willing to try out now. So go ahead and take that leap and try and go feet first into it. Just really dive on in. And jumping right off of that into number two, let's talk about understanding your own emotions. And while this may be a very frightening phrase to a lot of people, I'm going in a different direction than where you might think I'm going. I want you guys to really think about what you do, whether it's your job, whether it's football, whether it's any other sport or activity. I want you to think about how much you really enjoy doing that sport and maybe why you're doing that sport. Understand the reasons behind it. Make sure that you guys are doing it for the right reasons. And if not, it might be time, and it might be a really good time to try and make a change in your life and try and veer away from that, or veer even more towards that based on what you find out about yourself. Think about why you're doing what you're doing, not just because someone told you to do it, someone told you that you should do it or you should keep doing it. Do what you love to do and make this time your time. What's he doing? Seriously, what's he doing? Well, other me, this seems to be how our anxiety-riddled friend handles his adversity. Oh, well, have you tried telling him maybe he should rethink playing football, especially if it causes him this much stress? I am not sure if he can articulate anything at this moment. I do love football, and I know that's what I want to do, and I'm doing it because I like it, but at the same time, I don't know what to do because I've been out of shape for so long. I haven't been able to get in the weight room. It's not my fault. It's their fault, right? And even if I did want to get back in the weight room, I don't even know where to start. I'm so out of shape. Well, that's just the thing, guys. For most of us, we can't all stay in shape all the time. There are some people that can, and they're awesome. But for the most of us, we have to find ways to just always try and get back in shape and stay there for an elongated amount of time. No one, and I mean no one, is always going to be in their peak form. Everyone has little dips and intervals of whether they're feeling great or feeling bad. Yes, this pandemic has been very abusive to all of our psyches and all of our physicals in some way, shape, or form. Some of us gone stronger during the pandemic. Some of us gone faster. Some of us gone slower. Some of us has gone weaker. It's gonna happen, but eventually, if everyone just puts their heads down and works, especially if they want to, and it's all gonna work out, guys. No one even said this was gonna be easy. Football is not an easy thing. Life is not an easy thing. Handling adversity is a big part of both of those things. It's about how you handle it and how you respond that really makes your character and really makes it show how much you want to do what you say you want to do. And connecting straight to that, I think is really important to talk about how to love yourself. How to really appreciate what you give to the world and what you're able to provide. Everyone's good at something. It doesn't matter who you are. You can provide something, and that is something that you can take pride in. If we're talking about sports exclusively, there's something on the field, on the court, on the ice rink, anything that you can play on that you're probably good at in some regard. It doesn't even have to be playing. If you're good at analyzing the field and making sure everyone knows their own jobs, then you have a role. If you're a big guy who doesn't really understand a whole lot, but you're able to plow through the offensive line to get to the quarterback, you definitely have a role. If you're maybe not the fastest receiver, but you know your job and you execute it well, you definitely have a role as well. In the end, football is a game. It should be fun. Life should be fun as well. You shouldn't be ragging on yourself about your body, about your physique, anything like that. You have to come to terms with it and understand what it can actually provide you. As for me, I'm kind of a bigger body dude, but I still like to run routes, and I have to run routes for some of my positions. So I found ways to utilize the strengths that I do have as a route runner with the body that I do have. And I have limitations as to what routes I'm particularly good at and what routes I'm particularly bad at. And coming to terms with that can help you grow as a person and a player much quicker. And that's a beautiful segue to our next point, which is analyzing yourself and your game. If we're talking about sports specifically, it's about analyzing the type of body you have, the type of limitations you might have, and the type of strengths you might have, and really playing off of those when you play your football game, when you play your basketball game, soccer, golf, any of that. Understand where you lack and understand where you excel, and that'll help you grow much more as a player. Everyone has their own ceilings, everyone has their own floors. It's all about understanding those. Will we be able to reach a higher potential than we might have before? If you know that you're slower than another DB that you're going against when you're running a route, you might want to give extra time and effort into faking him out, into going the wrong way to compensate for you maybe not having that breakaway speed. You can find ways to get separation in your route in different ways than just speed alone. No matter who you are, there are ways to level up your game, especially with kids as young as you guys are, whether you're 12 or you're 21 and you're in JUCO, or you're in college right now watching me. Go ahead and find ways to up your game, even if it's only a little. Wow, we've talked about so much today. What is it, other me? There's a new strain of coronavirus.